Ann Schroeder is 94 years old. She still drives a half-ton pickup truck. She still lives independently in her own house, and she loves to go bowling. And she's about to have more time to do these things because she finally retired in October of this year after working 75 years. And get this, 75 years for the same business. Ann's story is inspiring, it's motivating, and honestly, it's kind of mind blowing. So, in this episode, I want to unpack what made her love her job for so long and how we can apply her wisdom so that we can learn to love our jobs as much as Ann. We'll discuss 3 application points to help you love your job, or at least like it a whole lot more. And stick around to the end because I'm going to give you some of Ann's bonus tips about how she lived a long and healthy life. So, welcome to the Mind Your Business podcast, the podcast for whatever business is on your mind. Let's get started.
Well, that's excellent.
Well, thank you for joining me for another episode of the Mind Your Business podcast. Hey, if this brings value to your life, will you do me a favor? Will you please like, subscribe, share this with others? I want to add as much value to as many people as possible. So Ann started working at the Davenport Spring Company in 1949. Think about it. That's before color TV and decades before anyone could say streaming service. Back then, her job involved handwritten bookkeeping and customer service. She took care of all the customers who were a part of the company. She actually was a bookkeeper by day and then a bartender by night. She said she would bartend 2 nights a week at a bar that she owned for more than 30 years. So not only did she work for this company for 75, she owned her own business for more than 30. So if you're like me, the question that you may be asking yourself is how in the world does one person stay at one job for 75 years? Well, it's not something that we see a lot today. Statistics actually are saying that the average person spends around 4.1 years at one job. And then the median employee tenure is currently sitting at 3.9 years. 75 years is almost unheard of. Ann said, I really liked my job. It gave me a sense of purpose to wake up every morning, put my makeup on, dress up, and then go to work. She even joked that she enjoyed her job 90% of the time because even Ann, who worked there 75 years, couldn't love her job every single day. But here's the most powerful piece of advice that I believe that Ann provided to us. She said that staying at a job you hate is a waste of life. I believe that most of us right now who are listening or watching, most of us are working for a salary. We're working for a salary rather than working for significance. We're looking for pay instead of looking for purpose. Ann believed this as much as I do, and that purpose is the most important ingredient. Studies show this to be true as well. Gallup reports that people who enjoy their jobs, they live longer and have healthier lives. Engaged employees are 41% less likely to take a sick day and are 17% more productive. 77% of people right now currently hate their jobs for various reasons. But loving your work isn't just about finding the perfect job. It's about finding the right attitude and purpose. At least we know this was true for Ann. But what about for the rest of us? I want to offer 3 key ingredients that I think Ann displayed through her career and that I talk about often in all of our conversations on this podcast. And the first is this, is you need passion. If you're going to love what you do in the same way that Ann did for 75 years, you need passion. You need to find what fuels you. Passion is what gets you out of the bed in the morning, and it's what keeps you going when that cup of coffee runs out or we're on your 3rd Zoom call for the day. For Ann, her passion just came from her childhood. Ann actually got her driver's license when she was 16, and then she had learned to drive a semi-truck by the time she was 17. She said she even drove a gasoline semi with her dad for a summer, and she really enjoyed it. See, Ann, growing up in a family that was connected to trucking, then working at Davenport Spring Company was really the perfect job fit for her life. It was this natural extension of her childhood experiences. Now, I know you may be thinking, well, I'm not passionate about trucks or bookkeeping or semi-trailers, and that's okay. Because passion isn't about loving every single aspect of your job. Think about it. Just because there's parts of your job that you don't like doesn't mean you can't be passionate about it. Passion isn't about loving every single aspect of your job. It's about finding the pieces of your job that give you energy. Maybe you're passionate about solving problems or helping people or even creating something new. So here's the key. Don't wait for passion to magically appear. You can't go to work every day and then just think passion for what you're doing is just going to fall into your lap. Passion grows when you are intentional about what you're looking for. You have to plant it. You have to be looking for it. Take a closer look at what you already do and ask yourself, is there a part of your job that you just light up over? Is there something that in your day you look forward to doing? Is it something that you could just lean into a little bit more? I want to challenge you that this week, try reframing the way you think about your work. So instead of saying, I have to do this, I have to go to work today, I have to do this task, try saying this, I get to do this, I get to go to work, I get to do this job. This job is what takes care of my family. This job helps provide for my life. So I don't have to, I get to. See, shifting your perspective can help you rediscover the parts of your job that maybe you once enjoyed. Or shifting your focus can even help you discover new passions that you've never even noticed before. And if you're really struggling to find passion in your current role, it may be a sign that it's just time to move on and time to explore new opportunities. Like Ann said, what a waste of life to go to work every day and to hate it. Don't settle for a job that doesn't fuel you. If you can't find passion in it, life is too short for that. So if you feel like it's time to quit your job, check out episode 16 of the podcast, The Business of Being a Quitter, because I think it'll help you in that decision. Ingredient number 2 is purpose. Make your work matter. If you're going to make your work matter, you have to have purpose. If you listen or watch my podcast or any of my content, you're not surprised by this one. Purpose, the why behind the what that you do. I talk about this often. Think about it. For Ann, work wasn't just about punching a clock or collecting a paycheck. No, her work gave her a sense of meaning. It gave her a reason to wake up every morning, to put on her makeup because she said that was important, remember? And then step into her role with pride. She said it herself. It gave me a sense of purpose. Here's the thing. Purpose transforms work from a chore into something that's bigger. It makes the daily grind feel worthwhile. But purpose, like passion, it doesn't just always fall into your lap. You have to be looking for it. So just start by asking yourself this question. Who benefits from the work that I do? See, maybe you're making a difference in someone else's life. Maybe the work that you do every day is positively impacting, changing the life of someone else. And you haven't connected what your day-to-day routine, your job, your role does for those around you. Maybe your job is solving problems, or maybe your role is contributing to a team that achieves something that's super meaningful. Even if your job feels small or if it feels ordinary, it's part of a larger picture. So when you're looking for purpose in what you do, connect your small role to the bigger picture and look at the difference that you're making. Take Ann's story as an example. She worked in bookkeeping and customer service. Those are two roles that may seem straightforward on the surface. But think about what that meant not only for her life, but for those that she served. So she helped keep the company running smoothly through bookkeeping. She made sure that employees were paid, which helped to provide for their families. And she helped ensure that customers got what they needed. And she built meaningful relationships along the way. Her work mattered. What she did every day was connected to a bigger picture, and she saw that. Studies actually show that employees who find purpose in their work, they're 3 times more likely to stay at their jobs longer, and they report a higher job satisfaction. When they see purpose in their role, they're not miserable every day at work. And that's not just a benefit for employees, it's great for companies too. Multiple studies show that organizations with purpose-driven cultures, they often outperform the competitors who don't. So whether you're a teacher and every day you're shaping young minds and you're controlling those little monsters, those beautiful kids, or you're a barista who's brightening someone's morning with a cup of coffee, or you're an engineer, someone who designs the future, regardless of where you are and what you do, your work matters. And if you can't see it right now, maybe it's time to start looking at your job through a different lens. See it in a different way. Here's a great way to reframe your thinking. If you're struggling with finding purpose, frame it this way. Purpose isn't just what you do. Purpose is how you do it. So approach every task, everything you do with intention. Take pride, even in the smallest of the responsibilities. See, when you show up with a mindset that says, this matters, this work matters, this work makes a difference, it changes the way that you feel about your work. And my hope for you is that just like Ann, you'll look back someday and you'll realize that by making your work matter, you didn't just work for money, you worked for meaning. And ultimately, because you worked for meaning, you built a legacy. And then key ingredient number 3 is persistence. Persistence. Just keep showing up. Ann worked at the same company for 75 years. 75 years. That's longer than some companies have even existed. And do you know what she said about those 75 years? She said, there are some days in your life when you don't want to go to work. She said, we all understand that. But almost every day of my life, I wanted to go to work. Ann wasn't saying that she loved every single second of her job. She wasn't saying that she enjoyed every single day that she showed up. She was honest about it. She said, it's not just some dream that you're going to love it every day. She said there were some tough days, but the secret to her success wasn't just the passion, and it wasn't just the purpose all alone. It was persistence. Ann kept showing up. And that's the thing about persistence that I love the most. You don't have to feel motivated every day. Every day doesn't have to feel like this big motivational moment that I can't wait to get to work. There are some days you just have to put one foot in front of the other, that you have to trust the process, and you just have to keep showing up. Research backs this up also. Studies show that people who develop routines and then stick with them, even when they don't feel like it, they tend to achieve more in the long run. As a matter of fact, on the next episode of this podcast, we're going to talk about how we can do that and prepare for 2025, because I want you to have persistence. Persistence builds momentum, and then momentum leads to growth. It's so important. What if Ann had just quit during a tough season? What if she let one bad day, or even just a few, define the career that she had? We wouldn't be talking about her incredible legacy today. See, her story is a reminder that persistence pays off, even when you don't see the results right away. Now, for you, where do you need a little more persistence in your life? Ask yourself that question. Where could I use a little more persistence? Maybe it's staying committed to a project that just feels overly challenging. Maybe it's showing up for a team that's just going through a rough patch, or maybe it's sticking with your career while you figure out how to make work a better place for you. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's something personal in your life. Just remember this: success isn't always about who works the fastest or who has the best ideas. As you struggle through these things, it's often about who just keeps showing up. So don't underestimate the power of persistence. You never know that because you didn't give up and because you continued to show up, you never know when your next big break will happen, simply because you stayed the course. And then just like Ann, one day you may look back and think, I didn't just survive, I thrived, all because I kept showing up. So purpose, passion, and persistence, I think it makes all the difference in your job. But what about living to an amazing 94 years of age? Well, Ann's got us covered on that too. And as promised, here are Ann's tips to living a long and healthy life. Real quick, one, she says just move your body. continue to be active. Did you know she'd been bowling for 50 years and she still competes today? Then Ann says, number 2, she eats in moderation. She loves peanut butter and different kinds of nuts, and she loves chocolate ice cream. Those are her go-to treats, but she defines herself as an all-around eater. She eats anything but red meat, and that's only because of her high blood pressure. And then number 3, she says, take care of yourself. One of the things that Ann mentioned that I thought was interesting was her makeup routine. She said, I put on makeup almost every day. I never went a day without it. I have makeup on right now, and I'm not going anywhere. She has a favorite line of moisturizers and cosmetics that she's used, she said, probably 90% of her life. And she credits those products plus good genes for having few wrinkles. It's my desire that every person finds purpose and passion and long life like Ann in everything that you do. Life is just too short to be miserable in our work lives. So take time to be intentional and to love your work. And if I can help you or your organization achieve this, I would love to help. Check out the show notes for all the ways that we can connect. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with a friend. Please like, subscribe, leave me a review. As always, I want to make as many people or an impact on as many people as I possibly can. And don't forget, join me on the next episode as we learn to prepare for 2025. I'll see you on the next one. Go and have a very Merry Christmas.